Hi, my name is Sydney Swift and I'm a part of the Johns Creek group. So our project was rebuilding the Findley Oaks Gaga pit, and what we did was we raised money for the project and then we hosted a event day where we demolished the old Gaga pit and built a new one.
When meeting with the past student leadership group when starting our project, we were able to see what strategies they used and the challenges that they faced. Our group had to work through some obstacles throughout the brainstorming process on creative ways to raise money to add on to the funds that the previous group had raised last year. It was very helpful for our group to have meetings with last year's Findley Oaks Gaga Pit group in order to figure out new ways to troubleshoot those challenges in order to be successful in many areas. From meeting all of our project deadlines to creating relationships through networking to the completion of the new Findley Oaks Elementary School Gaga Pit, our group was able to collaborate together, as well as the past student leadership Johns Creek Findley Oaks Gaga Pit group, Mrs. Sanders and Mr. Gilbreth, to complete our project.
We did a lot of communicating with Mr. Jeffrey Gilbreth, who's the main parapro at Findley Oaks Elementary School. And along with communicating with Ms. Sanders on this topic, we were able to email him and just understand what materials are needed to use for building the Gaga pit, what instructions are also needed, how many people are needed for this job as well, and also where to set up this Gaga pit once it arrives and which day works best for everyone to build this Gaga pit as well. So this is what a Gaga pit will look like. It's about a 4-minute drive from Emory Johns Creek to Findley Oaks. And here are the instruction manuals and sets for the Gaga pit. Along with the tracking information, the following pictures show what materials are needed outside of the kit to help build the Gaga pit.
It went super well, especially with major thanks to our incredible volunteers for the incoming class of 2025. While planning, we faced problem after problem, and a lot of them came to fruition on the actual day of building. The unfortunate cherry on top was super heavy rain that we hadn't initially planned going into planning. We'd planned a rain date, but after we'd pushed it to that rain date, once we saw the rain the very week of building, we got word from the overseer of the building that we wouldn't be able to access the school on a Sunday, which wouldn't have worked for what we wanted to do. So we had to send a second message out to the volunteers who we'd already informed what would be needing to come in on a Sunday, that it was pushed back to a Saturday, and we told them all of this on a Friday evening. So to keep a very long story short, we felt very disorganized and confused, especially the night before, which truly made us feel like we had made so many mistakes, too many mistakes leading up to the date of, and we couldn't even get the date correct. So we were very frustrated and confused within ourselves, and we felt worried for the volunteers that a lot less of them would show up because of the conflicting information. But thankfully, it was all a huge blessing in disguise. First of all, the rain cleared up an hour before we even needed to begin building, and it had actually cooled down what would have been a super hot day of being out and about with many people and building a Gaga pit. Of course, it was a really tedious process, but very little, if anything at all, truly went wrong. And again, this was thanks to our incredible volunteers that helped us. Miss Sanders, her husband, the class of 2025, and some parents that helped from Leadership Johns Creek. The project was actually very successful, and it took much less time than we had anticipated. It took about 4 hours less than we thought, and we all went home with smiling faces, just relieved that it was all done. The major lesson that we all learned was the importance of taking this a day at a time, especially if you take on a big project that has to do with a lot of physically intense labor. It might seem very difficult and out of reach at first, but I promise you, if you just remain in good communication with your group members and take it a day at a time, and also communicate very much with Miss Sanders, because she will definitely help, whether it's her directly or connections she has, she will help you figure it out. And just don't get overwhelmed by it all, because not only will it be over before you know it, you don't have to do a project your second year. So it will be over sooner than you think. And just remember to remain in good communication throughout your first and second year, because not doing that will lead you to get very frustrated with your peers. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Reflecting on our Gaga Pit project, we learned a lot about the importance of timely planning and execution. While we encountered some challenges and made mistakes along the way, we remained committed to the project and were determined to deliver an upgrade to the Findley Oaks Gaga Ball pit. One area which we could have improved on was our initial slow start, which caused us to push back some important deadlines. However, we learned from this experience and recognized the value of starting strong to stay on track and ensure the timely completion of our goals. Looking back, we're incredibly proud of the way we bounced back, along with what we've accomplished, and are excited to see the joy that the new Gaga Ball pit will bring to the students of Findley Oaks.